Hey guys, what's going on? Will here, Flawless Exotic Creations, coming to you guys with another video. And this week we're going to talk on infrastructure again, but a different twist to it. So after the last video, actually the last two videos, been talking back and forth with two individuals who had shared a pretty good insight with myself, and I started thinking on ways to kind of present certain scenarios or how we go about things. So when we start talking about business, at the end of the day, you know, you're spending all this money, you know, sometimes people are incurring a lot of debt when you're buying such expensive animals or an abundance of animals, as well as racks and caging, all of everything. And someone was crystal clear, you know, literally came and they're like, all right, well, we see this infrastructure, everything is infrastructure, but at the end of the day, what's the bottom line? You know, what is the threshold that you need to be at an operating cost or operating expense for you to continue to exist? And that's a very valid question. So we kind of did that by default from the very beginning, from the business startup, but we never really went in detail on how maybe you should look at things getting in, even before you start looking to get into the ball python. So you're going to have expenses, a lot of expenses. So on the month to month or week to week, you're going to have a lot of things being deducted from whatever revenue you have in place. So if you have a nest egg there, through work, through investment, whatever you're putting into that business, there's going to be a constant draw from that. Oh, you need bedding. Boom, $50. Hey, you need, you know, rodents. Boom, a couple $100. Oh, you see this snake that you want? Cool, couple $100, $1,000, whatever it may be. And that's going to be consistent throughout your reptile breeder journey, no matter what species you're in. There comes a time where things will slow down as well, especially on your actual ball python purchases. And they should, you know, but you're still, for the most part, going to have needs and desires. There's a difference. On your desires list is always going to be those hard to find combinations and things of the sort. There also may be, hey, maybe you have PVC set up and you're thinking about going stainless steel racks. And one is not significantly better than the other. I'm just using that as an example. That will fall under something like a desire, where you're fully functional, nothing's wrong, you don't have any obstacles or challenges in the way that you're keeping as far as tub size or whatever it may be, but you have a desire to look at the stainless steel rack, whether Freedom Breeder or ARS. If you choose to fulfill that desire, it's going to come with an expense, a hefty expense. So how do you mitigate and maneuver through some of these things, and how do you execute? Well, you have to set a priority list. And if you end up having extra throughout your journey from sales, from reinvestment, then you have to kind of tackle your priority list as you see fit. You reevaluate that priority list. Some things are going to move and move up higher than things that you previously, you know, had at a higher setting on that list. So again, acknowledging your expenses, all of that in a nutshell is going to be, okay, you know, you're planning to have 5 snakes, you're planning to have 10 snakes. What's going to be your expenses on housing them? What manner you're going to go about doing that? You go ahead and secure that. Then are you going to breed your rodents? Okay, you're going to breed your rodents. Okay, how are you going to house your rodents? Are you going to have enough finances to build racks or purchase racks for your rodents now? What's the monthly expense on keeping rodents? You know, whether it's your water bill, whether it's your bedding, you know, how you go about keeping them, your rodent feed. You have to feed your rodents in order for your rodents to grow and continue to produce. Are you prepared for things to go wrong? in your rodent production, where you have to now go out and buy new breeding stock. So you have to kind of account for all of these possibilities in the event that you have to kind of come up with a game plan to address these obstacles. But okay, you've done all of that. We talk about these things on a regular basis. How do you get at least on the road to being in the black? For us, it was looking at the long game. And in the long game, we're planning on being around for decades. That's the plan. That's in the plan. We're not trying to, year one, we did 43 clutches, and turn around, we sold everything we ended up having available. It was awesome. This year moved a little slower, but we've been able to move things, but we didn't have as many clutches. Did we aim to have less clutches? No, not necessarily, because each one of our breedings were strategically planned to hopefully have certain holdbacks. Did that go full circle? Absolutely not. So you have all these moving pieces that's a part of the puzzle. That's all a part of the plan. You have to be okay, and it has to be by design, that you're not going to execute everything. Everything is not going to come full circle. It may in time, but immediately it's not going to go as you plan. So how do you get through the in-between from planning to execution to the final stage? What is the end game? And you have to be resilient. You have to plan, and understand that things are going to have to be adjusted along the way, especially when it comes to expenses. So you have all these exorbitant expenses that you're just absorbing into the business. So how can you generate revenue? Well, it's going to be long after the investment stage. So regardless of what you invested in your 5 or 10 snakes, number one, it's not typical that you're going to have a self-sustaining business with 5 to 10 snakes. I don't think that that's possible. And again, it's an opinion. It's not a fact. You got to figure out what's your sweet spot. Like I said, back to infrastructure, and where are you trying to go? If you're starting with 5 or 10 and you're planning on dedicating a portion of your home to your business, that's fine as well. We did the facility build, so we kind of planned all of this out, and we just had to have patience to see it all through. We spent a crap ton of money, and we're still upside down in the red. But you seen the video. That I think that's what sparked the question with Audra and I laughing and joking, was because even though we're in the red, there's a game plan to get into the black, and we're moving there aggressively fast. So that excites us, and it excites us because we're heading in that direction in a market now that's much better than it was 6 to 8 months ago. But at the same time, when we bought in, the majority of the time, that COVID area, we bought in at such a high price point that some of the same combinations and things that you may be into now is 10 times less the value. But when you work that game plan, and that's a whole nother video, we can kind of break it down to you on how it logically makes sense. But regardless, every scenario is you need to allow time to kind of run its course. So you lay that initial nest egg, whatever it may be, and then over time you allow all your animals to kind of flourish. Once you're producing or breeding, and now you're generating some holdbacks have value. You're seeing those as animals that you were striving to produce, and now those are animals you also don't have to buy, or maybe you're doing pairings in the manner of you can't even buy them if you had the money because they're not available. We hit some of those as well. So you want to kind of spread that thought process all around and understand you're not gonna get rich quick, because in ball pythons that just literally don't exist, in my opinion. But at the same time, you can definitely plant that seed, that nest egg, plan around for your success and be successful in the short term. If your goal is to do, our plan was to do 50,000 the first year, and we did 77 year one. That means we were ahead of the curve. Second year that just finished up, we're like, hey, Bottom line is, if you invest X amount of dollars and you can generate, 50 grand of revenue after your expenses, you're already in the clear. If you think about it moving forward, constantly move these projects forward. Does that mean you're going to make that every year? No, not necessarily. That's not a guarantee. We're banking on that because we strive to expand the brand with videos like these. We also got another huge announcement we can't talk about just yet that's rolling out. You'll see it within 2 weeks. But just constantly planning on the marketing and advertisement side of things, kind of following up the same business plan as we did with Flawless Crested Geckos. So you plant that seed and allow it to grow, flourish, and sometimes you can propagate and pull off of that and plant it somewhere else and allow it to grow, and not necessarily be straight up from a seed. It's already kind of a little springling, already kind of off to the races. So if you get that analogy, it's very, very comparable to what we do. And when you're doing things in a manner of, this is not the final stage, this is us still growing and growing, your full potential is in front of you. So if off our collection and certain combinations and things that we have now, and you still see us doing unboxings and additions and acquiring certain animals, it's because we want to move our projects forward. There are still combinations we're seeking to create through sheer excitement, and we are stoked and motivated to chase these projects. We're having a lot of fun. And at the same time, things that we're hitting as byproduct are really cool and interesting, but we're making those available to people who are aspiring to acquire those. So that's how you kind of end up generating some revenue. So as long as you can generate operational costs and revenue from things that you are sending out to new homes, to new keepers, and it can absorb your operating costs, you're going to eventually be in the black. As you guys know from previous videos, I won't make this one too long, but our budget every year, because we're not planning to expand on, we're not planning to expand on racks, as far as more racks and more breeders and get up to 500 breeders. We're not planning to do that. We're planning on kind of strategically graduating up males and females and purchasing more males as we move forward, year after year after year. But at the same time, that still kind of keeps within range the same amount of ball pythons, as long as we are moving up. So we're budgeted for 15 grand on rodents every year, which is our biggest expense. Then in return, if we can turn around and knock out some of that, which we did in year 1 and year 2, by producing our pups, our rat pups, to feed our hatchlings, we significantly knocked that 15 grand down to below 10 grand. That's going to continue to drop a little bit because a lot of that was the materials in building some of the rodent racks. So if you're looking at what's the key really to solidifying yourself on being able to breed comfortably, is going to be rodent supply. It really, really is. We're comfortable with our rodent supplier. He's awesome. And but we want to also have pups and rodents on hand, especially for hatchlings, being that through just regular pairing, we're going to end up with more hatchlings than we actually have breeders. And through the process of simple odds, majority of your hatchlings are not going to be holdbacks. So that becomes sellable inventory and revenue to come in, which can leap you forward. So every project you progress forward, you strategically plan that out, and that's going to come with more revenue coming into the doors. But at the same time, you can't just let it do it by itself. You got to market, advertise, and promote yourself and your brand. You have to have something about you that's going to spark interest from someone else that wants them to follow you or buy from you or hang out with you, talk to you. All of these things are huge in trying to grow a business from the ground up like we're attempting to do. So again, as long as that nest egg is already put in place, you already executed on all of that, you did all the parameters around that, you are trying to mitigate and monitor your expenses, which is very, very important. And you have some means, whether vending at shows, selling online, or a combination of both, which is very important, a combination of both. You have the means to outsource and sell your sellable inventory. Then you now can sit back and not only just pocket the revenue you make, you have to literally look for places that you're going to reinvest, which will lower your taxes at the end of the year, essentially. At the same time, you're able to generate revenue to continue existing until you really, really get in the black. Because once you get your nest egg back over the course of 8 to 10 to 12 years, yes, years, then at that point you can quote unquote give yourself a pay bump, because you have to be an employee of your business. And you can look for other things to invest in or expand at that point. There will come a time, now we have our facility, but we're going to build another facility. So we're going to be even more probably upside down eventually, because our home now, we're going to keep this home, but we're planning on buying, hopefully, if everything goes well, we're planning on buying 25, hopefully 25 acres, minimum 20. We want to plan for the future, especially for our kids, to hopefully be able to, you know, come back home, build homes on the family property, and I don't know, kind of live the dream. You know, we have dreams and aspirations like everyone else, and we just want to be transparent on how we go about things in hopes of spreading knowledge or information that can help you chase whatever dream you may have. So what I want you guys to take from this video is acknowledging your expenses and how much they truly are. Seeing what your absolute bottom line is. What is it that you need to bring in on a week to week, on a month to month, or for the entire year for you to continue to exist, to continue your passion and doing what you truly enjoy? What is that bottom line that you need to bring in to facilitate that? And very last thing is addressing obstacles in a timely fashion. We want to make sure you've guys seen the videos on how we ran into an issue with a pairing issue and trying to kind of circumvent that problem. You need to address the issues that you see are presently there and not ignore them or dismiss them in a timely fashion. Not a rush, but make sure you have a plan to execute your plan. And I don't know, kind of adjust, you know, on the fly to any issues that may arise. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video this week. Here it is. It's New Year's Eve. Here comes turning the page, a new chapter, a new you. How are you going to address and attack 2025? Flawless is going full steam ahead. We are going to grab 2025 and take the reins and ride it through. Let's get it. Will Flawless is Out of Creations. We out.